It's hard to believe, but something may be alive beneath Death Valley's scorching surface. Once thought lifeless, this desert is now showing strange signs scientists can't yet explain.
The ongoing heat wave could lead to new record temperatures in Death Valley. The forecast predicts temperatures will reach highs in the mid-120s through Saturday.
But one of the hottest, driest, and most desolate places on Earth, Death Valley, might be hiding something alive beneath its blistering crust. For over a century, this California wasteland has been the symbol of lifelessness, a place so hostile that even bacteria struggle to survive. But now, shocking new discoveries suggest something is stirring beneath the salt and stone, something scientists can't fully explain. In early 2026, a team of geophysicists monitoring seismic noise near Badwater Basin detected anomalous rhythmic tremors, a pulsing vibration that didn't match earthquakes, mining blasts, or tectonic movement. Then, just weeks later, the desert floor began to bulge. Satellite imagery confirmed that the ground beneath Death Valley had risen by nearly 3 centimeters in less than 2 months, as though something deep below was pushing upward. When drones scanned the area, they captured something even more chilling. A perfectly circular depression, half a mile wide, glimmering with a strange metallic sheen. Scientists rushed to the site, only to find the desert crust cracking open in intricate hexagonal patterns, radiating outward like a living organism expanding beneath the sand. Could Death Valley, the hottest place on the planet, be awakening from geological dormancy? Chapter 1. The pulse beneath the salt. Nobody expected life in a place built for death. Death Valley, a name that speaks of finality, silence, and endless heat, is suddenly moving. Beneath its bleached salt flats and jagged ridges, the ground has started to hum with a rhythm scientists can't explain. It's not wind, it's not tectonic pressure, it's something else. A pulse, deep, steady, and growing stronger. In early 2026, seismographs stationed near Badwater Basin began detecting vibrations that defied classification. They weren't earthquakes, no sharp jolts, no fault ruptures, but slow, rolling waves repeating every 47 minutes. The tremors originated from nearly 10 kilometers below the surface, far deeper than the local fault zones. And what shocked scientists most was how regular they were. The Earth shouldn't have a heartbeat, one USGS researcher said. Not like this. Then the land began to rise. Satellite imagery revealed a gradual uplift across 12 square miles of the basin. In a region known for erosion and subsidence, the surface was inexplicably swelling. The desert was breathing out. Thermal cameras showed faint heat signatures spreading outward from the center, while magnetotelluric sensors picked up a surge of electrical conductivity, far too strong to come from dry rock. When researchers examined nearby fissures, they found metallic dust shimmering in the sunlight. Iron, cobalt, and lithium mixed with silicate crystals, all fused together in thin, unnatural sheets. The discovery triggered a flurry of questions. Was molten metal moving beneath the crust? Could this be a new kind of geothermal phenomenon, one never before observed? Then came the most haunting discovery of all. Every pulse recorded underground matched fluctuations in solar activity overhead. The desert, somehow, seemed to respond to the sun, as if the planet itself was syncing with the star that scorched it. To many, it was coincidence. To others, it was the first signal of something extraordinary. An unknown energy exchange rising from the Earth's core to the surface, using Death Valley as its conduit. Now the tremors are spreading. The pulse is stronger, deeper, and measurable from space. The desert is waking, and what's rising from beneath the salt might not be just heat, but something entirely new. If Death Valley, the planet's symbol of stillness and decay, has found its rhythm again, then what exactly is it preparing to create?
Chapter 2. The Awakening Cracks. It began with a sound no one expected in a place so empty, the sound of cracking stone. At first, hikers thought it was thunder echoing across the distant ridges, but the skies were clear and the noise didn't fade. It deepened, it grew, and then the ground itself began to split. By March 2026, fissures were appearing overnight across the heart of Death Valley. Smooth, clean fractures that cut through salt and sandstone with geometric precision. Scientists from Caltech, dispatched to investigate, were surprised, stunned. These weren't chaotic earthquake ruptures. They were structured, almost patterned. Each one followed a repeating formation. Long, linear fractures intersecting at 120-degree angles, forming perfect hexagons across the desert floor. When field teams arrived at Badwater Basin, they found something even stranger. The edges of the cracks were lined with metallic crystal filaments, glittering under the morning sun. Samples revealed a compound never before documented in the region, a fusion of silica, lithium, and vanadium, arranged in microscopic lattices capable of conducting electricity. The crystals appeared to grow from within the cracks, not settle into them, and they were spreading. Nighttime drone footage showed the filaments glowing faintly blue, like frost veins creeping across the valley in slow motion. As temperatures dropped, the glow intensified, a sign, scientists believed, of chemical reaction between gases escaping from below and the cooling air above. Some described it as the desert breathing light. Thermal imaging confirmed a truth even more unsettling. The fissures were releasing heat signatures consistent with hydrothermal vents, the kind typically found on the ocean floor. Yet there was no water source nearby, no volcanic activity to explain it. Something deep underground was heating the crust from within, something that didn't follow the rules of geology as we know them. Researchers mapped the expanding fissure field and discovered that the cracks aligned with ancient lava tubes buried beneath the valley, tunnels dormant for 500,000 years. Now, they were reactivating, channeling heat, gas, and minerals upward in rhythmic bursts. When the data was cross-referenced with seismic sensors, the pulses matched the same 47-minute cycle first detected weeks before. The Earth wasn't just moving, it was organizing itself, channeling energy through predictable geometry. If Death Valley's cracks aren't signs of destruction but construction, if the ground is reorganizing itself from within, then what exactly is the desert building? And if these lines of light are the veins of something newly awakened, what happens when it opens its eyes? Chapter 3. The Black Water Rising. No one expected to see water in Death Valley again, and certainly not like this. In April 2026, satellite images stunned the scientific world. Dark pools of liquid had begun to appear across Badwater Basin, days before any recorded rainfall. What should have been bone-dry desert was glistening under the morning sun. When scientists finally reached the site, they realized this wasn't water. It was something else entirely. The pools shimmered black, viscous, and metallic. They moved unnaturally, rippling even without wind. When researchers dipped collection probes into one, their instruments instantly short-circuited. The substance conducted electricity. Lab analysis revealed a mixture of rare earth minerals, iron oxides, and trace organic compounds. A liquid more similar to molten ore than groundwater. And yet within it, microbiologists found life. Under microscopes, samples teemed with chemosynthetic bacteria, organisms that survive by converting chemical energy into fuel instead of relying on sunlight. This form of life is usually found at the bottom of the ocean near volcanic vents. But here it was, thriving in the middle of one of the driest, hottest places on Earth.
Even more unsettling, these microbes seem to be forming structured colonies, filaments weaving through the metallic liquid like neural networks, growing faster with heat exposure. Infrared imagery soon revealed that these black pools were connected beneath the surface, forming a branching system stretching for miles like an underground bloodstream. The liquid metal was migrating through Death Valley's crust, surfacing at intervals before vanishing back underground. And everywhere it touched, the soil changed color, from pale sand to deep obsidian. Scientists initially feared a toxic spill or ancient ore release, but chemical signatures didn't match any known industrial or natural origin. The fluid was producing its own magnetic field, oscillating faintly, pulsing with the same periodic rhythm as the valley's seismic heartbeat. It wasn't just reacting to the environment, it was interacting with it. By May, more pools emerged, some bubbling, others perfectly still, yet all releasing thin streams of vapor that glowed under ultraviolet light. When drones captured time-lapse footage, the vapors twisted upward, forming spiral patterns that mirrored the valley's subsurface geometry. Experts now believe this black water is a superheated mineral plasma, born from the reaction between rising geothermal fluids and ancient salt deposits. But others whisper about something stranger, that the Earth itself is creating a living circuit, channeling energy through fluid, mineral, and microbe as one system. If Death Valley's liquid darkness is the planet's new bloodstream, then perhaps these pools are not a warning, but the first signs of the Earth learning to move again. And if this black water keeps rising, what happens when it reaches the surface for good?
Chapter 4.
The light beneath the desert. No one ever imagined the desert could glow from below. For centuries, Death Valley was seen as a graveyard of sunlight, a place where heat devoured everything it touched. But in the summer of 2026, as night fell over the dunes, something extraordinary broke that silence. The ground began to shimmer, not like a mirage or heat haze, but with a steady, eerie radiance, a soft blue light seeping through the cracks of the earth itself. At first, campers thought it was lightning reflecting off the salt flats, but the skies were clear, and the glow wasn't fading. It pulsed, rhythmic and deliberate, spreading across the valley floor like veins awakening in stone. When scientists arrived days later, their instruments confirmed what eyes could hardly believe. The light wasn't coming from the surface, but from deep within the Earth. Spectrometers detected traces of ionized gas, helium, argon, and xenon, leaking from fissures in the crust. Under pressure, these gases interacted with metallic dust particles, rising from the black water pools discovered weeks earlier. The result was a plasma reaction, creating glowing ribbons of natural electricity winding through the desert soil. At night, drone footage revealed something astonishing. The lights weren't random. They moved in geometric patterns, forming circular arrays that expanded and contracted in synchronization with seismic pulses detected miles underground. The desert, somehow, was organizing itself into a glowing lattice of energy, a living diagram of whatever was happening below. And then came the sound. Seismometers recorded low-frequency vibrations corresponding perfectly with each flicker of light. The two phenomena, the electromagnetic and the acoustic, were connected. Death Valley wasn't just lighting up. It was resonating, humming in harmony with itself. By August, the glow had intensified enough to be seen from orbit. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station described Death Valley as a heartbeat of blue fire, visible against the darkness of California's desert. The world below was watching, measuring, speculating. But one fact was undeniable. Something was alive beneath the valley, and it was growing stronger. If the planet can create light from its own depths, is this still
Chapter 5. The Unexplainable Structure.
It wasn't supposed to be there. When the drone feed first came through, researchers thought it was a glitch, until the image sharpened. Beneath the cracked surface of Death Valley lay a perfect geometric grid, metallic and impossibly precise. In August 2026, radar scans revealed a massive hexagonal lattice stretching for miles beneath the salt crust. Each segment measured exactly 3 meters across, connected by reflective seams that formed a flawless pattern. The Earth doesn't make lines like this. It builds chaos, not symmetry. When a drill reached the structure, sparks erupted. The material was magnetic, conductive, and alien to the local geology. Its composition, iron, nickel, and iridium, matched that of meteorites, not Earth's crust. But the real shock came hours later. Once cooled, the samples began to vibrate softly, humming in rhythm with the valley's 47-minute underground pulse. If Death Valley has hidden a design this intricate for millennia, then who or what built it? And if it's waking up now, what happens when the rest of it begins to rise?
Chapter 6.
The desert that moved. At first, scientists thought their instruments were broken. The desert, after all, doesn't move. It's supposed to be still, eternal, frozen beneath the sun's weight. But in September 2026, every GPS beacon across Death Valley began to drift. The coordinates didn't just fluctuate, they shifted eastward by nearly half an inch every few days. The valley floor itself was sliding, rippling like something alive under the crust. When satellite radar confirmed the data, disbelief turned to panic. Time-lapse imaging from the European Space Agency revealed wave-like undulations traveling through the basin's surface, gentle at first, then unmistakable. Massive salt ridges tilted, dunes bent slightly out of place, an entire dry lake bed seemed to breathe. Death Valley, one of the most geologically stable regions in the American West, was now moving as a single body. The energy wasn't random, it followed a predictable rhythm, matching the same 47-minute heartbeat that had haunted the region for months. Each cycle coincided with a measurable horizontal displacement of the ground. Death Valley wasn't just breathing anymore, it was crawling. By October, the movement had accelerated. The entire basin had shifted nearly 2 inches eastward. Ground fissures opened, closed, and reopened in new places overnight. Instruments recorded heat blooms migrating in tandem, as though an unseen mass were sliding beneath the surface, something vast and pressurized, seeking release. When scientists overlaid the data, the displacement pattern aligned perfectly with a larger geologic corridor extending hundreds of miles north, to the Long Valley caldera, and northeast, toward Nevada's Black Rock Desert. Suddenly, the impossible seemed likely. Death Valley's subterranean network was linked to other volcanic systems, each one subtly pulsing in sync.
Chapter 7. The Breathing Earth.
It started as a rumor, whispers from scientists too afraid to say it out loud. What if the Earth wasn't just shaking or heating or cracking, but breathing? By November 2026, the idea no longer sounded like science fiction. The data pouring in from across the Death Valley region was undeniable. Every 48 minutes, the ground swelled upward by a few millimeters, then fell again, like the chest of a sleeping giant. The movement was rhythmic, deliberate, and synchronized with temperature and magnetic fluctuations miles beneath the surface. Thermal scanners revealed 2 massive heat sources pulsing below the surface, alternating in intensity, like biological organs regulating temperature. Gas sensors picked up surges of carbon dioxide and helium, classic signs of geologic activity, but in ratios so precise they looked controlled. The crust wasn't breaking down, it was responding. As night fell, the desert glowed faintly blue again, matching the rhythm of the subsurface pulses. Infrasound microphones recorded tones so low they couldn't be heard, yet when sped up, they produced harmonic patterns eerily similar to breathing sounds. Some researchers now argue that the Earth has entered a new phase of geobiological activity, where heat, gas, and mineral movement interact like the systems of a living organism. The planet, they say, might be regulating itself, adapting to balance internal pressure and external stress. But others aren't so optimistic. If the Earth is truly alive, then what we're witnessing isn't balance, it's awakening. If Death Valley is the first place to breathe, what happens when the rest of the planet joins in and the world finally exhales?
Chapter 8. The Final Warning. In December 2026, the basin's temperature rose by 9 degrees Fahrenheit in a single week. Cameras at the site's perimeter caught red vapor seeping from new fissures, glowing in the night. The tremors ceased, then returned, stronger, deeper, more organized. The desert's heartbeat has accelerated. Experts now fear the pressure may reach a breaking point. Beneath the salt and sand, gases are building, fluids are rising, and the crust is straining to contain it. The next release could trigger not just an eruption, but a geological awakening unlike anything in modern history. If the hottest place on Earth is coming alive, then maybe Death Valley was never about death at all. Maybe it's about rebirth. If this story shook what you thought you knew about Earth's dead zones, don't stop here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we uncover the hidden forces reawakening beneath the planet's most extreme landscapes. Because what's stirring in Death Valley today might be the beginning of something far greater than anyone dares to imagine.